was that on our first game against Fnatic, our comms were connected to the live feed, so every single person that was streaming the LEC was basically showing our comms to their audience.
Oh wait, it wasn't. I was thinking you meant that like they just took a clip, you know, where you shot, hey, and you just hear the whole comms.
Holy moly!
Fucking hell!
On
okay.
The first 5 minutes, yeah. And I mean, to me, that was like something that should obviously not happen. I think that the French stream, from what I was told, was really fast at muting it.
Fair enough.
And we got some messages on Discord. That's why there was a pause on game 1. At the same time, we had to ask for the pause because it wasn't getting fixed and the game was being kept going. But yeah, that's why to me that was like the bad point of these playoffs. It was like it didn't have any repercussion or anything like that. Like it's not like
no one said anything crazy that got clipped or anything.
Yeah, I don't think so. Otherwise, it would have just come public. But the fact that like these things can happen after such a long time, that's why on a playoff series, that's why I'll be putting this as the bad one.
That's wild.
Holy moly! I didn't even realize that happened. Wow.
I didn't check all the streams, but I know it was on live feed because it happened on. I saw it on the French stream. I know it happened. I know it happened on some co-streamers. I don't know if it all, but yeah, I know it happened on a couple.
Did the players? Did you and the players know? During the series or after?
So our analyst messaged us on Discord when it was happening, and that's when we knew. The players didn't know until the end of the series. We didn't tell them. And then we asked our manager to tell to LEC that they need to pause the game because we don't have a keyboard right on backstage. I can't pause the game myself. So we asked LEC to pause them, and then we informed them. I'm not sure if they were aware or not, but yeah, that's when we informed them, and then there was a pause. It was fixed, and the game kept.
Sure. I mean, I'll just say that even for even if it's so obviously it's competitive integrity, but even if it's an issue and then it gets fixed, you always have those kind of things in the back of your mind later on.
Yeah, of course.
That really that is really something that can throw you off. And yeah, I know for sure. Like, I mean, how many years into esports are we right now? Like into League of Legends esports are we right now? Like these kind of things, like especially in a playoff series, just cannot be allowed to happen. And like that kind of saddens me because basically I thought that the series between you and Fnatic was actually pretty banging series, to be honest. And you know, I felt it got cheapened a bit by what happened to Fnatic the following weekend, but like the following on the Monday. But you know, like I think rather than saying that it was Fnatic not being that good, I would say that like the way that you guys played in that series kind of mental bloom Fnatic a bit and really softened them up.
I think that so first of all, I need to clarify this, right? Like it had zero influence on the result. Like absolutely no difference on the result or the way we played. Like, I mean, you've been in series, Peter, as well. Like, you know that during the series this problem happens, and after 5 minutes I already forgot. I already have like so much shit on my head that I need to focus on the next game. It's like, and the players were not aware, and there was nothing that was said that had any influence. It had zero impact on any type of competitive integrity whatsoever. It's just, to me, it's just bad because like it just can't happen. Yeah, like that's where, like, sure, this time nothing bad happened, and because we said early, it just stays there and like and it was fixed. But if we are not informed on Discord, maybe we'll never know, and then it's like the whole game. And I can tell that in the whole game there will be clippable moments. I can promise you that much. Because I think it was the first game where my team doesn't wait for lot on the 4v5
right,
and stuff like this. Like, so there was stuff that could have been clipped for sure. but yeah. And on the series, I think that Fnatic was already coming mental boom against us, and that the series was kind of in our hands, but we had like some poor moments, individual and collective. But I think that after the defeat against C2, that was playoffs for Fnatic. I think it was kind of like set in stone for them. I think it was also visible after the Grabs interview, right? That like a bit already on that side, which it happens. It's at some point it would break that much, right? Because like Razork humanoid, because a lot of people like to talk about Noah and June, that they were so good, best bot lane, yada yada, but they never won a title in Fnatic. But Razork and humanoid are together 4 years in there, and they also didn't win one.
Yeah.
So like at some point it's going to have a bigger impact than just, oh wow, well we lost, let's try again next split. And I think this split maybe was that, and that's why the mental boom was that big.
Sure.
I'm not sure, right? Like not being inside there is hard.
I mean, there was a lot of things from that Grabs. Was it like a Grabs I guess it was Grabs open forum, right? Like
conference, like fan conference or something. What it?
Yeah, fan conference,
something like that.
Like it's very, very rare you will see a coach give something like this, right? Because there's a lot of people drawing very, aggressive conclusions.
Well, they're looking for anything to blame. You're just giving them ammunition, aren't you?
Yeah. But I mean, obviously, like Grabs is a smart guy, right? Like Grabs is not going to do something like this unless he feels it's like literally his last choice. It's not like the first weapon you go to in your arsenal, right? So it's interesting. I think that I think you're not giving yourself enough credit. I will say, Kiloto. I think that they definitely played better. They definitely were better into you than they were into KC, and I don't think it's that. It's because I don't think it's because KC put up more resistance, right? Like I think you guys actually put up a lot of resistance, and there were a few like team fight synergy issues, a couple of flanking issues, a couple of I don't want to go into too much detail on something which obviously must suck to still think about, but like I mean I think that basically GX showed a lot of improvement over the course of the split, and if you said to me that you guys are playing Fnatic 10 times, maybe at the start of the split, I wouldn't give you guys much of a chance. But I think that, run it back again. And I think that you guys can get like 30% of those series, right? Like from what I saw there. And I think that will hopefully improve in summer. And that's a promising thing to see.
I mean, that's the goal for us. It was hard to start because Isma, like when we lost Closer and got Isma, he was still playing ERL, so we had like 1 week of practice, and trying to fix issues while you are losing on stage is incredibly hard. So we had to kind of like drop aspirations of playoffs to actually make playoffs, and that's, I guess, part of our improvement is just that we were only thinking of summer after the SK loss, I guess. And that helped us. I mean, it also like helped me grow a lot as a coach, because it made me see that how important off season is, to the point where you can actually only grow as a team when you're focusing on growing instead of focusing on putting band-aids on and trying to fix like faster solutions. And that's kind of what we did, and it was enough. It could have much well just like we could have lost against G2, and that was it. But it was enough, and that's my message as well for the players. It was enough to reach there, but it wasn't enough to beat Fnatic. So we have to keep on a similar track.
I guess kind of sorry, just one side tangent I just want to go on this is like obviously Isma is a guy that has a reasonable amount of hate from the community, right? And we've been talking a little bit about hate in the Melzet example, in the Jojo discussion point. How do you go around helping somebody like this interact, right? Because it's very easy to say, "Oh, just shut off social media," right? But that's in esports, you don't get to do that, right? Like it kind of sucks, right? Like there's the expectation that you do interact. So how do you help a player like this?
Yeah. So I mean, I think a lot of the credit also goes to Mew, our sports psychologist, that helped him a lot. But obviously the majority is from Isma, and it was just helping him understand like kind of that the spiral of negativity can't really go deeper than that, right? Like he came from an SK that he won 1 game on stage, and then he comes to Giant X, which we were like not good but a decent team in winter, and now we are losing every game. So obviously it's like insta goes for himself, right? It doesn't even need to be public. Like himself thinking that he's basically the issue. And at some point our conversations just changed to like, I mean, you can't really go lower than this, right? Like you're like literally at, sure, you lose every single game on stage. Like what can go worse? Lose again. So at some point he started to care a bit less of the result. And he entered and brought up more the mindset of just looking to do small things better every day. And we'll see on the weekend where we are, but we keep on the same path regardless of weekend result. And against KC, I think we gave a better face, and that helped him even if we lost. But then I think once we won in Madrid, and more than winning in Madrid, it was feeling that we are in such a shit spot, but Giant Tech still has like so many fans that support us and wants to see us. Because that's literally what you don't get from social media, right? No one really goes onto social media to write, wow, man, you played so good this series. Or like 5 people do this, you know?
Yeah.
That everyone goes, shit, I bet my house that you guys would win and now you lost, fuck you.
Yes.
You know, and no one DMs you saying, I love you so much. But everyone's like, yeah, I put $200 on this that you would win, blah, 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 blah. And like only you cost me this much, die. So I think that once we go to Madrid and he sees that support, I think it's the main thing that helped him actually.
By the way, I'll even say as well, that's even something that is actually something I've experienced, which is online. I obviously get a million people flame me and always have. If I ever go to like a live event, it's overwhelmingly positive. It's all people are lovely and asking for a signature or saying, I like when you make the cool tweet or whatever. Like, I agree. I actually wish in that sense, it's sad because obviously in League of Legends, unlike CS, people don't get to experience the fans that often. If people knew how popular they actually were with their own fan base, it would actually offset a lot of this, because I do feel like the worst thing people do is when they're actually a fan of your team and then they flame you. That just makes you think the whole fan base is against you. It might not even be true. Yeah. Maybe it's just like a few weirdos, or just from one angle where they just, like you say, they made a bet or they're tilted about something else. By the way, on the topic of the grabs thing, if people don't know, grabs is actually the coach where I invented that term that like Peter does it obviously all the time. Like your job when you go on talk shows, interviews, is to play defense for your team. Your job is to like make it seem like it's not actually the player who fucking on the screen clearly flashed in and hinted. It's not his fault that they lost the game actually. That's just a minor thing, and you know, the practice, and if I'd have set him up correctly in the communicate, you have to do all that, right? Grabs is the original one that was really good at that, not least because, by the way, he used to play defense for, look, he started out with the easiest job, the greatest team of all time, stacked with Hall of Famers, but then he did build up his skill set. He wasn't that bad BDS, and I always say, right, this actual conference thing, here's what's funny. I think to a fan or a pleb, you're going to think he hinted it. You think, what? You've already lost, and then you did this conference and all that. No, you idiots, because what was at the end of that conference, what everyone's conclusion was? It was all the shit he said. You all think, oh, actually what they need is the top side just needed to play more solo queue. By the way, masterful, didn't call out a specific player, just said basically most of the team. Easy. Secondly, he's also basically then done that thing where he said like, oh, then we played like a week of scrims without comms. Now, what's brilliant, this is where I know Grabs knows the fans better than you guys know yourselves. If you actually have ever been behind the scenes or known any coach, that's nothing. That is a complete nothing burger. That experiment has been done a million times. It's even a good experiment. Like if you have a team that can't comm very well, you often play with no comms and you point out the differences and the gaps where saying a comm at the right moment would have helped. It's just an obvious teaching exercise. When he said that, every moron I knew was going to pick up that and be like, he's making a play with that even having comms. Like all the idiots went to that. And so the whole point is, here's why that was successful. Because then people aren't going, wow, kick Oscar and then. People aren't like, no, maybe Humanoid can never win. Like, no, now people have all these other reasons to latch onto as to why they lost. Even though, by the way, after all of that Grabs, it's definitely also that Razork and Humanoid played like fucking shit, mate. That definitely helped like lose those games. Like if they were doing that in the regular split, you wouldn't even fucking be in second place, would you? So like he has done a great job with that one. But as usual, he baited all those stupid fans and they all believed him as well.
And here we are, Thorin. You know, I'm here trying to glaze this man, talking about how well his Jackie's play. Because to be fair, they did play.
Yeah,
like,
they played well.
Since the like, it was very noticeable from when you guys came back. Well, when you guys were in Spain and when you guys came back from Spain.
Yeah.
Versus before, like it was like noticeable.
Yeah, it was a big difference.
Yeah, and I mean, I think there's an argument to be made that you know you had the better mid jungle in that series against Fnatic. And like that's a promising sign. Now, if you're a Fnatic fan, maybe you go and say, "Oh, that's because our mid jungle is complete shit," and like you know they don't belong they don't belong in the LEC. But you know also, how many people would be
I
saying that
think
Isma is
Isma-
out jungling Razzle?
I mean, I don't think Isma had that necessarily a good series. I think that he showed so much more in the other in the regular splits, but that's also because I think Isma, which is normal, right? Like, Isma was one of those players. I mean, everyone is, but especially Isma, that needs competition. And when it's like 3 weeks between us playing our last match to the first match of playoffs, I think it's like we lose a bit of touch of the game or the competition. And I think that he was benefiting a lot from the momentum, and obviously you lose it a lot. I think he did a good series, but I know he can do much better.
Sure.
The one that I was like really surprised by the quality of his series, because he was Lot, because in scrims he was always incredible, but he had a bit of hard time transferring that performances onto stage. And since Madrid, yes, I do think that week in, week out, he shown gradual improvement. And I do think that in his case, it's safe to say that he outplayed Oscar in every single game of the series. The others, I think there was like moments. Yeah. Like the Yori game, I think he did well. The Vlad game, he did some good things, some bad things, but he got the solo kill, so I'll give him that much.
Cool.
And yeah, the other two, honestly, like they kind of disappeared out of my memory already. But I remember thinking that, so I must have like seen something. With Jackie's, I'm just really happy with the steady improvement that he's been having, because he has been very inconsistent. I think that his highs were lower this split than what we have seen before, but his lowers were definitely higher. And to me, that's where we wanted to focus with Jackie's, to make sure that he can have that consistency, because confidence is also built on being consistent. June engaged was really well. I think Noah didn't have a good series, but to me, the fact that he already make a lot of growth when it comes to facing G2, being very calm on a big stage and beat them, is more than enough for me to know that in Summer Split, that's not going to be a problem whatsoever. And he had a lot of clutch moments throughout the split where he saved our asses.
Sure.
Overall, like it's what I said at the start. I think we are going on a good path, but just not where we want to be yet. Definitely want to challenge for Worlds, but I think the path we are going is the right one. Yeah.
Makes sense. I mean, just while you were talking, I was refreshing myself of my notes from the series, and yeah, okay, I forgot the Nocturne game in game 2.
The Nocturne, and the game 1 where he wants to do that invade, it was like such a weird one.
Yeah.
Bro, Peter Dunn takes notes when he's not even a coach. Fucking hell, mate. This guy.
I mean, we do the show every week, you know. I have to.
Fair enough, Peter. Fair enough. I appreciate the diligence. I appreciate it. By the way, to bring it all the way back to his original point, though, about the comms getting leaked, right? Look, obviously, on its surface, that wasn't supposed to happen. That should never be the case. That immediately, even if it doesn't affect it, that's an immediate violation of competitive integrity. Like, other teams didn't get their comms leaked. So that already, obviously, it goes out saying it is a problem. But if people don't think about the knock-on effect, it didn't happen this time, but the most obvious thing that could happen is someone says something thinking that it's a private comm with already their team, and then it gets leaked and clipped, and that is forever held over them, or some sort of a fucking like albatross around their neck, as we say in English. Because I can tell you, one thing I hate is when they leak shit that's like supposed to be the equivalent of like inside the locker room, because inside the locker room, like, put it this way, I'll give you the best example ever, right? If people don't know, maybe now because of that Last Dance documentary, people know maybe Michael Jordan was a bit of an arsehole. That never came across in media, by the way. This guy was the most perfect interview subject ever. He always said like that he wasn't the best and other people are very good, and the guy he just beat was, you know, a great player. He always said exactly the right thing. But I'll tell you what, if you'd have ever leaked like him in practice telling some like teammate of his own teammate, like, you're a bitch and I'll fucking wreck you, like, that would have changed the perception of him completely. There's so many things you might say to hype a teammate up. Like, you might even say some trash talk like, nah, that fucking guy's a fucking bomb, the other jungler or something. If that gets out on Reddit, like, that's for your teammate only. That's not for everyone to hear and then be held, like, as if Kyoto's making, like, an interview statement where he wants you to take that as the bait and to, like, motivate. But, like, in that scenario, it's so dangerous. And then also, I'll even throw it out there, it could quite literally also, like, impact the series. Because as we're saying, right, in this scenario, it didn't happen. But imagine, for example, in, like, the beginning of the game 1 when it gets leaked, imagine if in the comms you're like, oh, should we do that invade we're going to do on, like, their thing? Nah, we'll do that, like, later in the series. Bro, someone could just go and tell the other team before the game happens. Like, that can't be allowed to happen. You got to get rid of that. I'll even throw out there as well, like the scouting angle is real. Like, people would go and message someone or Discord message them or DM, hey, they just said this in the game 1. So I hate that idea. I'm already nervous enough, even though I understand you sort of need it for the broadcast because we're in an industry where we don't make money from the tickets and the sales. We get it off the hype of people watching. I get why, like in Counter-Strike, for example, they literally do take fragments of timeouts and try and use them, etc. I can tell you it's the most fraught thing you can ever do, because if you make it too boring, well, then what was the point in showing it? And if you put any spice in, then the player gets mad because he's just had something leaked that he said, again, it wasn't for other people, it was just for him and his team. So it's already a really fraught area. So I agree, this should never be possible. And lastly, actually, that's it. The other point you said at the bottom is very significant. People won't think of this, but once this has happened, that could be in the back of your head next time you're playing and something weird happens in the game. Like, I'll give you a very quick example. This actually happened like 10 plus years ago. I'll give you the obvious joke. If everyone remembers the famous Katowice event I almost worked at, I always phrase it that way because I did go there. I just never got to work the event because I told all the Poles their country's shit and they're all fucking racist or whatever. Which, by the way, I've never complained ever. Once I realised that they all were bad at that, I was like, yeah, fair enough. You can tell me to get the fuck out. Like, that's a totally reasonable state. I just told you your country's all shit. When I went to that event, that was the same event, if people don't know that, in StarCraft 2, Nanawa, the Swedish Protoss player, famously just quit the game in the first match he played. Because what happened is they had all the matches in StarCraft were on stage, and when he was on stage with his headset, I was a mate of his, when he was on stage, he could hear like a tiny sound leak of the crowd, right? Like, he could hear the vibration, he could hear, and so unfortunately, no joke, in game 1, his Korean opponent did like a crazy, like, random scout of him doing like a proxy. If you don't know, basically he was doing an all-in strategy. It was the equivalent of an invade, guys, and essentially his opponent like perfectly like did the right thing, and because he'd heard that sound leak, he just quit the game because his logic was like, oh, he heard me, like, you guys must have cheered when I like moved there, and then he heard me, so like the game's rigged. And even though, by the way, that might not even have been the case, I can't totally blame him in that scenario. If you think that it's possible, it's going to change how you perceive it. So that's also why you can never allow leaks like this, because I wouldn't want to be in another game in the next playoffs and then they do, like I swear, we do some crazy invade and they're all just waiting there. You're like, can they hear us? That shouldn't even be in the back of your head. That's going to drive you crazy. So obviously this is an easy topic. Yeah, don't just get rid of the fucking comms that weren't supposed to be leaked. But that is shocking. I mean, it's worth bringing it up. I never saw anyone mention that during this split, so I wasn't even aware that was the case, mate. Good point.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.